Well, again, good morning, and thank you all for taking time out of your Saturday morning, your weekend morning, to join us to learn more about Advantages Middle East. Our presenters are Gloria Brown, who's our Executive Director, yours truly, and Dr. Audrey Lee, she oversees our education operations as our Director of School Services. Okay. And then as far as the Advantages Middle East leadership team, it's the three of us, and also sort of the backbone of our operation. She sort of runs our front desk and helped us build this thing from scratch. And that's Aziza Saeed, who's here also. Our mission is very, very simple. It sort of tells our entire story. It's to make world-class education accessible and relevant to students, families, schools, and communities across the MENA region. And our audience is two. We're here to help serve families with the online school that we'll talk about in a little bit more in a few minutes. Also, we have success centers and a dual credit program. I'm not going to spend much time talking about schools today. Dr. Steve, I will be talking to you about that a little more in the near future, though. So as far as Advantages School International, this is our partner. They were founded in 2006, developed by a team of talented educators. I think what you're going to find that's striking about that is here in this region, a lot of schools are built by investors who bring in educators, but the whole mission was profit and money. This team never really thought too much about money in the early days. It was just about how we can help kids. And that was sort of what attracted Gloria and I to this particular school group to build our model off of. Is their motivation is very similar to ours. It takes money to run a school, but we felt we could do it in an affordable way if we just kept the needs of students and families in the forefront and at the center point of all of our decision making. And you see they've done quite well with it, with this model. They're in all 50 states in the United States. 30 countries, and with an astounding 95% success rate, they're doing very well. The accreditations, as you can see, are well known. A couple of them we're gonna highlight in a little while. And what I really want you to understand, I think Miss Jillian is on the phone, that's on the call today. And if you know Marquita, this is something that we're really excited about, is that we have two paths to high school graduation. There's the traditional college prep course path that most students take, where you need a combined 24 credits. But for students with differentiated learning needs and students that aren't necessarily on that university track, there's also a general studies diploma that's awarded that's also fully accredited, that students can get with not as many credits and not as much academic rigor. As far as Advantages School International, they have an executive leadership team that's Pam, Allison, Sandy, and Andy. They are very hands-on, very involved. I think the thing that's most striking is that this company is 17 years old, and the four founding members are still actively involved in the day-to-day operations of the company. That type of passion that really inspires us here. And we see it, and Audrey's been with us for a few minutes, Aziz has been with us, and we're sort of all understanding now how they could stay together that long and continue to work and never settle, always look for ways to make it better, because we're starting to feel the same way with what we're putting together. We talk to Pam weekly, so we're really engaged with the school that we're putting students into and working collaboratively with them. More about the team, the students that we're enrolling students into. Miriam, Jen, Suzanne, Cassie, Carrie, again, most of these people we talk to at a minimum of twice a month. And some Suzanne, for instance, we speak to pretty much on a weekly basis, if not more often. Okay. So that's a little bit about the school. And Dr. Audrey's going to speak a little bit more about the school, actually in great detail, about and how we've customized it to meet the region needs. Right now, I'm going to introduce my business partner and my good friend, Gloria Brown, and she's going to talk to you about some just good common sense advice for families. Gloria?
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm really excited about today because this is probably a vision that I've had for many, many years. I didn't really know how it would come about, but this is evolving into what it is today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey and how I got into home education, and I've been home educating for about 30 years, and I've doing it in the US and now in the UAE. I've been here for about 8 years, and I'm part of the Abu Dhabi Homeschool Association, pretty involved with that. And I started a co-op, a homeschool co-op here in Khalifa City A. I've done many co-ops over the years in the US, whether I've been a part of them or started them within different facilities. And but one of the biggest things for me has been school choice. That I know that home education has worked for us, but it is not the choice for a lot of students and a lot of families for various reasons. So I really am an advocate for a choice for students of different abilities and pathways to their education. And whatever circumstances the families have, we're hoping to meet a variety of needs with Advantages Middle East. So I'm excited about that. So a little bit more, if you can move the slide, Jeffrey. Yeah. Okay. So I have 5 kids. 4 I have homeschooled. 3 I graduated. 1 I'm still homeschooling. 2 of them have special needs. I have 5 grandkids. My daughter is homeschooling her 3 kids. I have 2 grandsons that took an alternative route to education, and one just graduated as a high school graduate with an associate's degree. The other one is also on that path. So all my kids have taken different routes, so I would call myself an eclectic home educator. And so when we moved to the UAE, I just found a different way of having to home educate my kids, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So we've got your traditional homeschooler, that is the hands-on active parent that puts together their own curriculum. We're motivated personal choice a lot of times, and I would call myself, and a lot of people call me, a traditional homeschool family, and that's the way I've educated my kids. And I've put together my own curriculum, but I've also used other educational services. The other thing that we see here in the UAE is there's a lot of athletes and a lot of kids with special needs, and they don't necessarily have the time or the space or anything else to put together their own curriculum, but they need those personalized services. So they use online curriculum, structured curriculum that some schools may use because they're traveling, they have special medical needs and things like that. And we'll talk a little bit more about those medical needs that we see often, that are these special needs kids that your traditional school in the UAE is not able, for whatever reason, to meet those needs yet. Or then we have the post-COVID era. If there's, it was a really tough time during COVID, but if there was one thing that it did for families for home education, is that it opened up their eyes to alternative ways to home educate their children. And so one of the things that I see in these parents that I talk to almost daily is the parent that they see, there's another way to do this, that I don't have to necessarily go to a brick and mortar school, or even have something hybrid, something that you can do at home and something that you can do in a physical location at school. So they're changing maybe their lifestyle, the way that their child maybe really enjoyed the time together at home with their family. They saw a lot of benefit to online schooling. And another thing that is changing here in the UAE is that a lot of the jobs are not offering that educational packages anymore, unfortunately. So I'm seeing those families as well. So these are the families that I talk to. I'm not going to necessarily tell you this is the way to do it, but this is what I have seen and what I'll tell you a little bit of why I partnered with Jeffrey, and some things that I feel a little bit of advice to that specifically to expat families, and why it's important that you may look at an online alternative for your child. One thing that I would say is to look at your child's functional level. Is where is my child? Whether they be in maths, they're in one level, in English in another, and so look at where they are so that you can meet those needs. The other thing, and this is where I want to spend a little bit of time, is look for an accredited online school that is recognized globally. And I'll tell you my story about that. In the US, where we're from, home education is readily recognized with no problem. You enter universities, you don't need accreditation, you need test scores, you need a transcript from home, and there's not a whole lot of issue. But being an expat and being here, it's very different. So when I started home with the homeschool journey here in the UAE, I realized that we needed accreditation because our circumstances changed. Our sons being here for so long, we were going to be here for 2 years, but we're here 8 years later. They didn't want to go back to the US. And my son wanted to stay here and go to school here. We thought that he was going to go back, but that was not the case. He wanted to stay. So he needed an accredited transcript, which I didn't have because I didn't think that I needed it. Because you don't need it back home. We're considered a private school in the US as a home educator. So when that happened, I started scrambling to find a way to do this. So we did find an alternative way, and we started taking college courses during high school, which is what we're offering, and Dr. Audrey will go into that later and explain what that is, but that is something that we did, and I started having him start taking university courses while still in high school with Arizona State University, and that's what we're doing now. And we were able to graduate him with several credits as a high schooler. So I'm talking to a couple of other families that are in basically the same boat. They felt that they could home educate their child, get them into university, but they didn't have an accredited online transcript and diploma from a recognized school. And that is one of my biggest advice to home educating families, is to get that accreditation, because it will come in follow you when you're trying to get your child into university. And that's very, very important. And Jeffrey will get into that more. The other thing is to get your child access to social engagement. We have many ways to do that. We have a great home educating community here in the UAE. In Dubai, there's Sharjah, there's Abu Dhabi. We have associations, so you can reach out to us and we can get you plugged in to that. Get them involved in, whether it be music. There's many ways to get them involved in music, in drama, in volunteer opportunities. So reach out to us if you want to get the kids involved in that. And we've got the next slide. So Advantages offers a full-time program from K to 12, and this for homeschool students, students with learning disabilities, or maybe you don't need a structured environment like a traditional school. But what we offer is the core curriculum that the child needs, that your student needs, but you also have the flexibility to be able to give your child those other experiences that a lot of home educators long for. At the same time, giving them that core curriculum, your English, your math, your history, all of that. And of course, I hear a lot about parents that their students are struggling with their social emotional needs, that for some reason or another, they are not able to thrive in a traditional school. And a lot of times it's numbers. You know, the schools do a great job, but sometimes with a large group, you're not able to meet those needs. Then we've got, of course, our frequent travelers. And then we've got gifted students that need to and want to accelerate their education so they can go on and go on to their higher aspirations. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you. And I hope that that you will consider us for your kids' education. I want to turn it over to Jeffrey. Jeffrey is a great partner and friend, and he's also listed among the most influential in education by Which School Advisor in 2018. And one thing that Jeffrey does is he really looks out for the kids and the families. And so we work really well together, and I'm really excited to be partnering with him.
Sorry, I couldn't get myself off of mute. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, and as Gloria said, I'm really, really passionate. And it all starts, I've been here working for 15 years in the education space the entire time. But I think probably the thing that's given me the most insight into what's going on with families and students is my own journey as a father. I have two daughters that I have raised here. My youngest daughter was born here. And so we have seen the education setting at almost every grade level. They are now being home educated. They're students of Advantages Middle East. And we're very, very proud of their journey. And we fall into that third category. We're post-COVID. So with my journeys are a little different than Gloria's. They were in traditional school up until COVID, and we moved them over, and they have really, really thrived and gotten a lot more out of their learning with Advantages. So we get a lot of questions, of course, being a startup company here in the UAE, but by far, the most often asked question is, are you approved by KHDA? And being that I've worked for another online school before I came here, I understand the question. And so what I want to do today is take a few minutes and talk about the benefit of KHDA licensing, and also dispel some misconceptions about exactly what it is. So, and I'm going to try to do this in 5 minutes or less. So what are some benefits? Well, first of all, KHDA has done a good job at helping families by regulating fees to protect families and reward quality service on behalf of schools. So schools can't just arbitrarily raise their fees. And as you all recall, some of you may recall, during the pandemic, when business really came to a halt here, KHDA froze tuition fees. So that's one big benefit of having KHDA as a licensed entity, being a part of that. Another benefit for families is that they put systems in place to regulate quality and accountability. They have a very, very responsive portal. So if there's ever a customer complaint that you have, or if you need your records, everything is sort of in this parent portal, and parents even sign a contract with KHDA if they attend a licensed school. So that's another huge benefit. Another benefit is the annual inspections reports that they do on each school, where they really, really do a pretty deep dive into every school. I think they spend, Dr. Steve could tell me, 3 days in each school, maybe, really, really going over everything with a fine-tooth comb, and coming back with advice for schools on how to improve, but also being very transparent in terms of where schools are doing well and where schools need some improvement. So that transparency, I think, is another huge, huge benefit on the KHDA, a good service that they have for parents. And probably the one that's on the back of most people's mind when they ask us if we're licensed is this idea that I need you to be licensed by KHDA in case we ever want to transfer back into a traditional school. There have been cases where families who were homeschooled wanted to join a school, or they joined a homeschool program and they wanted to come back and they had a hard time for whatever reason. And so what I want to do today is tell you what KHDA requires in order to transfer into a school. So number one, and the most important thing that you need, is a transfer certificate. You cannot transfer into a KHDA licensed school without a transfer certificate. Now, a transfer certificate is not the same as transcripts. It's not just taking their report card from their old school. It is a separate document that clearly states what grade the student is being promoted from and it should be moving into in the next academic year. And then, depending on the country or where the transcript is coming from, it breaks it down a little bit more. So if you're coming from a KHDA licensed school, there's really not a lot for you to do. The transcript is all formatted in the KHDA portal, and the school pretty much handles it on your behalf. The document still needs to be attested, and there's a 120 dirham fee that parents pay in order for that attested document to go from one school to the new school. So if you're a KHDA licensed school, it is a very seamless process. However, if you're not in a KHDA licensed school, if you're coming from overseas or in another emirate, the process still is, this is what's required. Of course, if you're coming in, you need your child's medical records and everything as if you're coming to the country for the first time. And that's even if you're coming from another emirate, that you need these things because they're going to put you into the KHDA system for the first time. And on top of all of that, the identification and medical records that you need, you also need a transfer certificate from your prior school. If you attended a non-accredited school, if you were just a homeschool parent that used your own curriculum home, you're not going to have a transfer certificate from an accredited school. So that's really, really another important distinction, differentiator. So if you attended an accredited school, these are the requirements based on where you're coming from. Of course, Advantages Middle East would fall in the first category. All we need to give you is a transfer certificate with a school stamp and signature, which again, this company is 17 years old and has students in over 30 countries. So these are routinely done for you. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to speak to anyone to generate it. Within our system, there's a portal where you could just request a certificate and it's generated for you. So it's a very, very routine process that we do. So this idea that I need a KHDA school to enroll in case I decide to go to a traditional school does not apply to accredited schools. If you're coming from an accredited school, you can transfer into a school here in Dubai or anywhere else in the Emirates. Okay. And there are a couple of more FAQs, but I decided to save them until the end of the program because we're running short on time, and I want to thank you all for hanging in here with us. It's 10:34, so I want to push it over to Dr. Audrey Lee. Dr. Lee was introduced to me, and sometimes you find the best educators from other strong educators, and Dr. Steve is on the call today. And his predecessor, Dr. Veronica Griffin, is a very good friend of mine. I was there with her when she opened Ignite School, and she introduced, I asked her, I said, I need some of the best to be a school leader for Advantages Middle East, and Dr. Audrey Lee was the first name that she recommended, and she has not disappointed for one day. So we're very, very, very lucky to have her, and she's really given us the leadership and the direction we need to make sure that our students receive a quality education. So I'm going to hand it over now to Dr. Lee.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm just going to spend a few minutes sharing some of the great qualities that Advantages Middle East has to offer families and students in the region. I have been in education, as you can see, for a very long time. I'm very passionate about education, and I think it's very important that we provide the best education possible to any student that, as an educator, that I come in contact with. So I'm excited to be a part of Advantages Middle East. Next slide, please. These are some of the family experiences that we are committed to providing to families that are a part of Advantages Middle East. As you can see, we have year-round monthly enrollment. So, things happen in life. So you may not be here in September. You need to enroll your kid in October. That is totally possible. We have talented and warm, caring teachers that look at the needs of students and make sure they focus on those needs. We have UAE-based leadership and support. We also have success centers, and those success centers give those parents that are concerned with brick and mortar an opportunity for their students to attend our success centers, where they would be met by learning coaches. We are fully accredited and recognized worldwide, as Jeffrey has already said. We also have very affordable and flexible payments. And we have an iReady program, which also is a diagnostic for math and English for our students. When you subscribe to a full year tuition, it automatically comes with that, as well as esports club, where kids are learning things like Python and Java and game, how to create games and things like that, and basketball clubs, so that students can be socially adept as well. Go next slide, please. Now, what you're looking at on the screen now is just a sample. Emphasize on the word sample, because this is a sample of a K-5 day with Advantages. This is if you're looking for something more structured, if you're used to your kid being in a brick and mortar school, this would be something that would be appealing to you. But as a Advantages student, your schedule can look any way you like for it to look. We do want to emphasize that we do have morning assemblies for kids that are K-5, just to meet with the teacher that day, something fun to get them excited about the day. That does happen every day, but it is optional. Students do not have to attend. Those will be recorded and provided for students in a resource tab that they can go back and watch them whenever they like. We also have weekly live lessons. So teachers will provide a weekly live lesson in each of the subjects. Students do not have to attend the live lessons. We encourage them to do so, but if they do not, those will also be recorded and available for them to watch whenever they choose to do so. Our assist system is fully capable of email communication, so that the parent and the teacher can stay in contact with each other. They can email back and forth. Let's go to the next slide. And this is some of the emphasis that are opportunities for 6 through 12 students. They will have weekly live lessons in core subjects. The teacher will have office hours where they can communicate with the teacher Monday through Thursday. For a period of time during the day, the teacher will be available. All of the work in grades K through 12 is accessible 24/7. Coursework, quizzes, and exams. Parents and students have access to a mobile app. So if you're traveling, you can use the mobile app, or if you're traveling and have internet, you can have access to the curriculum wherever you are. And I have a little bit about the optional choice of success centers. Students can choose to attend the success centers twice a week or 4 times a week. And iReady is given 3 times a year to assess skills of students and for the teachers to be able to work with those students to build skills if they are behind in an area, or to advance the students if they are capable of moving ahead. So these are all skill-based, and they are focusing on math and reading. And this is included with the full tuition for students. And this is the Pathways to Graduation, which is, we have 2 paths. We have the college prep diploma, which is 24 credits. And then we have the general studies diploma. This would be advantageous for a student that is not interested in going into the university. They're interested in going to the workforce or a trade school, or going through a community college, which, when you're talking U.S. curriculum, they would be able to move from that community college into a 4-year college if they chose to do that. So these are the requirements for each one of those paths to graduation. Next slide, Jeffrey. Now, this is a very unique program where we are partnered with Arizona State University, where students can enter college courses and get college credit, considered a dual credit program. Say, for instance, they're in an English class. That class can also be taught by a professor at Arizona State, where they'll be getting English credit on the high school level and a college credit at Arizona State University. And there are a multitude of courses that students can take in that dual credit program, so that they could finish high school and have several college credits while doing so. Next slide, please. And Jeffrey mentioned these before. Fully accredited international recognized program. Advantages Middle East is accredited by the U.S. Department of State. Cognia, which is formerly Advanced Ed. The NCAA, we have AP College Board, where we offer over 32 different AP college courses. And we are also accredited by the Nevada Department of Education. These are some of the universities that our graduates at Advantages School International have been accepted into. And you can see that there are all over the world universities where students have been accepted, from Ivy League to Division I schools across the United States and across several countries. Now, I think Jeffrey is going to talk a little bit more about eStar, and these are some of the social activities that we get students involved in. eStar, I think it's called Game Time Sports. Yeah, Game Time Sports, and then Arabic, where we are also offering students an opportunity to take Arabic.
Dr. Audrey, thank you so much. It was a great presentation, and every time I see it, I get impressed, and we helped, we built it along with you. But we didn't build it in a vacuum. At the very beginning of this, the first thing that we decided to do was to get out and talk to the people. Don't just build this in a room, but let's get out and talk to the people and make this a community project. So we did a series of focus groups, and for those of you, I think some of the people on this call attended them, where we really asked you what was important for your children to have as far as their education. Core curriculum is what it is, and there's not a lot you can do to change that. There's ways you can deliver it differently, but we were thinking more about the whole experience, the whole education experience, the social and emotional well-being, the extracurricular activities, just all the things that make for a good, wholesome education experience. So we knew we needed a good, partner that would help to empower children with the skills and confidence for the 21st century. We feel that the standard curriculum is a little bit behind the times, so we were able to partner with eStars, and Gloria can explain that way better than I can. But we also realized that we were going to need some good partners for athletics. So right now we're working with Game Time Sports, and they offer basketball as well as football for students. And right now we're looking for a couple of other good partners for that. And then we also partner with Arabic to provide a good, solid foundation in Arabic for students in K-5 for families who are interested in that. And all of these programs, with the exception of some of the athletic programs, are included in your tuition. We're not like, charging a price for tuition and then trying to upsell you a new activity every couple of weeks. All of these activities, from the iReady to the eStars to the Arabic, to some of the basic basketball stuff, it's all included. Basketball is a part of Success Center, but it's all included in just the price of tuition. So we really want to make it easy on families, and that was advice that we got from families, is just give us one price and call it a day, so that it's easy to fit into your budget. Gloria, can you talk a little bit more about eStars?
I am very excited about eStars. eStars is one of the major providers of gaming in the region, and they actually approached us because they felt that it was such a great marriage between education and their platform. So this is something that we're offering to our full-time students, and I have been using gaming in my education for many years. Specifically, we started with Minecraft, and we've got some great things planned ahead with eStars, like tournaments for the kids and BTech that we may be offering. But there is so much that kids can learn if we use it responsibly with gaming in our education. So when we partner with the eStars, the platform will be a safe platform where kids can game and can come together, and we can. There will be tournaments, and there will be prompts on what the kids can learn with different games. So we're just really excited about it, and stay tuned to what that's going to be all about. And I think you'll be, that, and like Jeffrey said, it's part of our curriculum and part of our tuition at no extra cost.
Mr. Cedric Esom, who's the founder of Game Time Sports, and his wife, Dr. Kara Williams, they are co-founders of the first Success Center that will be opening in Abu Dhabi. And there's actually 2 branches, one in Reem Island and one in Khalifa City. And Cedric Esom was a professional basketball player. He played in Africa. He was the first non-African to win Player of the Year honors, playing for Angola. He's very passionate about athletics, and they're the father of, is it 3 children, Gloria?
3. Mm-hmm.
Father of 3 girls, and he's very, very active. He started Game Time Sports. We got to go out and see a couple of the tournament games, and we were just really, really blown away by the enthusiasm among the kids. And he's really teaching kids not only the fundamental of sport, but he's really helping children learn how to use sport to be better team players. Just skills that are transferable over into different facets of life. And he's doing a phenomenal job. And so we're very, very excited to have them as partners. And we're really just trying to put together good programs that are good for students and good for families. We have a few questions, and if you all have any questions, feel free. We have a few minutes left. We got a few questions that were chatted in.
You can go ahead and put the questions in chat if you would like. Mm-hmm. Or just let us know that you have a question and stuff. But what questions do we have right now?
Dr. Audrey, can you see the question in chat?
I see one question from Dr. Steve, a question about Arab B. Would these fulfill the Arab B requirement for non-native Arab speakers to take Arab classes in the UAE?
Jeffrey?
Am I on mute?
No.
Okay. Yes, they would. Arab B program is aligned to the Ministry of Education standards.
Yeah. They are already in several schools right now. So that would be.
Any ideas for ADEC accreditation?
What do you mean by any ideas?
I'll go ahead and take that one if you like.
Okay, go ahead.
So every emirate, there's ADEC, there's KHDA, there is the Sharjah Private Education Authority, and there's ADEC, of course, and they're all under the governance of the Ministry of Education, but they have been sort of put in charge of the private education sector. I think ADEC was doing both for a while, and now the ministry is sort of taking. But the rules pretty much should be standard across the board in that regard. We always advise you to check with the local ministry. I addressed KHDA today because there's more people that are interested in this in Dubai right now, and maybe that's where our public relations has taken us. But we just get an overwhelming majority of questions about KHDA. The rules in ADEC probably are pretty much the same as far as what you need. And we can find more specifics about ADEC, but I think we're going to find it's the same.
How does Advantages make sure the curriculum is of high standards? I'll take that one. Advantages is fully supported by a world-class education team based out of the United States. The curriculum content is regularly assessed and updated to assist students' outcomes and ensure that quality and desired outcomes are always at the forefront. Equality is important. Our educators are constantly speaking to students and parents about their experiences and evaluating the curriculum where it is used. So wherever it's used, we always get feedback from parents and students, and then we pass that on to ASI, and they are always making updates to make sure that the curriculum is of high standards and a worldwide standard, as a matter of fact.
Great. Okay.
Let's
Any
see.
more
I see
questions?
yeah, there's another question. Oh, wait a minute, I lost it.
Okay, I can take, what advice would you give to an interested parent who is moving here from Atlanta with school-aged children for 2 years, but knew they would be moving back home to the Atlanta public school system? You know, for the school-aged children for 2 years, depending on the age of the child, you know, I would go ahead and use us, of course, Advantages Middle East, to make sure that they are aligned with the core standards in Georgia. So if they use us for 2 years while they're here, they should be a seamless transition back into the public school system if that's what they're going to do.
Yes, because we're definitely using Common Core curriculum. So, and most states are using Common Core curricula, and most are about the same, exactly the same with just a few different wording. So they would be fine. And the same thing for Texas. I see another one that says about Texas, same thing for Texas.
Yeah, yes, the same thing for Texas. So what we're using is an American curriculum. So there are certain things that need to be taken, subjects that have to be, and courses we have to offer, and the students have to take to be able to get that accredited diploma. But there will be a seamless process back into your
state
private or public school in the U.S. And I think that. The other question.
Here's another question here, Gloria. This one would be perfect for you. How do success centers differ from brick and mortar schools, and what is the benefit of attending?
Well, I can tell you about the one of the biggest things with the Success Centers is the small size and the personalized education for the student. When the students are using our platform, our courses, and when they go to the Success Center, we've got coaches they're going to help them through any questions that they may have. We will be supporting the students in what you would say a small classroom setting, and it's very personalized to the student. I've been running co-ops for a very long time, and that is basically the model that we're using for the Success Centers. And that is, we're facilitating the kids' education. For us, it's really important for the kids to take ownership of their own education. And so we're teaching a lot of those skills in the Success Centers. And that's just a smaller class size that we're able to personalize their education and work along very closely with the parents to do that.
Okay, Jeffrey, here's one for you. If someone from Asia is enrolling in your school and if they need a transfer certificate, what's the process of getting the certificate attested, not knowing they do not reside in the US? And I think you touched on that earlier about it's just available within the platform if they're enrolled, correct?
Absolutely. So if you're, and I want to make sure I'm understanding the question. If someone from Asia is enrolling in our school or is already enrolled in our school?
Is enrolling in our school, and if they need a transfer certificate
to come to our school. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I think I'm understanding by the question. What's the process of getting their certificate attested, knowing they don't reside in the US?
Right. Okay. So the good thing about Advantages is that because we deal with students from all over the world, we need transcripts that we will evaluate, but we don't require that transfer certificate the way they do here in the UAE. We don't need a separate document. We will take the transcripts the way as they are. We will evaluate them depending on what curriculum the student was in and depending on what grade they were in. We will treat that student as if they were transferring from Asia to any brick and mortar school in the United States. From K to 8, they have a right to get a good education. They would certainly be put in place in school. We won't reject the student. So we'll certainly just work with the parents and the curriculum to determine what's the best grade placement. And then of course we have iReady also to make sure that student has the literacy and numeracy skills to perform at grade level, and a mechanism in place to make sure that they get there.
Okay, the next question is, if the child hasn't studied using an American curriculum before, will it be an easy transition? Grade 11 is expected. Now we're in the transcript situation. ASI is very accustomed to working with families that are homeschooled. So we would look at what that student has studied. If they've taken certain exams, let's say if they're in the IB curriculum, they're taking certain exams, then we would put together and send that in to ASI. They would do a transcript evaluation, and we would try to place the student accordingly. But one thing you have to understand is that there are certain courses in an American curriculum that students must complete. So we will look at that very carefully. We definitely work with families. We're also bringing on an IB curriculum, so that if they've been in an IB, I don't know what curriculum they're in, the question didn't address that, we may be able to have them pick up right where they left off in that IB curriculum if it's an IB curriculum. So we are working with another company that will offer some IB courses for students that are coming in that have been in an IB curriculum.
And we're used to dealing with students from all over the world. Right. Advantages is all over the world. So we're very used to looking at different transcripts, different school philosophy and systems, and being able to convert those into the American curriculum. So that should not be a problem. There was a question though, about philosophy, AI in delivery.
Does Advantages use or have a particular philosophy using AI in the delivery of instruction?
Well, having a daughter that was homeschooled and is in the AI field, this is an emerging technology stuff. But if AI will benefit our kids, we're very open to using it. But as far as the delivery instruction or the kids using AI, we've got certain things in place to make sure that there's no plagiarism, if that's what you're asking. Arizona State University, who we partner with, uses AI in their delivery of instruction.
Okay, the next question is, my son is 19 and was diagnosed with schizophrenia at 14, wants to finish his education with a diploma of some sorts. Is that possible as he is aged out?
Yes.
It's very impossible, and it's not impossible. That was not the right word. Very possible, and it may be that we'll be able to put him on the 13 credit track. Just reach out to me, and I will definitely. Yes. I will definitely work with you with that. We definitely want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of all students. So I think that this would be the ideal route for your student. And actually, students don't age out in the United States until they're 21 years old. So your child will have an opportunity to get a diploma with this program.
And we're working with a student right now that is 19, that is in the same situation, that needed a diploma, and we're working with her right now to be able to do that.
So it's definitely an option.
We'll all chime in, because Advantages also has just announced they're going to have, they've already developed it. It's a high school diploma for adults that will be starting in September. So it doesn't even stop at 21. It's going to be more similar to a GED, but instead of hedging all your bets on a high stakes test, the way the GED does, the student will have an opportunity to earn credits.
Okay, here's another question. How does Advantages tuitions compare to UAE prices?
I'd love to take that one.
I knew you would. That's why I didn't say
anything. I've paid enough tuition over the years. Well, and I'm going to go ahead and be very transparent. I really appreciate you all coming on, and the enthusiasm and the questions that we're getting is just what we wanted. And you can compare. So for a full year of school, with everything that we talked about, the esports club, the Arabic, the iReady, to make sure the students sort of have that undercurrent of support to make sure that they're on grade level with their English and math. From grades K to 8, that full year of school is going to run you 16,000 dirham. And then for high school, grades 9 to 12, it'll run 20,000 dirham. That's all inclusive. There's no hidden cost, no registration fee, no extra fee for books or uniforms or anything like that. And within that, we're going to have, we've talked about 3 clubs today, but there certainly will be more activities added on to that for that same low cost. And then in some areas, we have success centers, the brick and mortar center for children that want a more social interaction and get from behind the kitchen table or out of the bedroom. And so in Success Center, you can come to 2 days a week or 4 days a week. For 4 days a week to come to a center where you're getting live daily instruction and small group ratios and no more than 10 to 12 students per class, that's going to be under 40,000 dirham the first year for 4 days a week. And it'll be 34,000 for a 6 to 8. Now we only offer Success Center for middle school and high school students for the time being. But those are our costs. So we feel that they're very competitive and on the low end, especially for what you're getting, a premium quality American curriculum education.
I want to answer this question. about, somebody asked about, you talk about personalized flexible learning for children. To what extent can children be creative and self-directed in what they and how they learn within the boundaries of the curriculum that you are following? This is a really good question because I have one of those kids. And in continuation to that question, I'll answer both of them. If they need to move to a brick and mortar school and the transfer certificate provided, okay, well, you can take that one. But I have a kid that is, I would guess my philosophy for home education is child-directed learning. But within that, to have a well-rounded education, people love to throw that word around, is that the reality is that kids need certain disciplines. And because my kid is super creative and very motivated in what he does, and he's also on the spectrum, I have to kind of rein him in sometimes to be able to give him the well-rounded disciplined education that he needs to be able to thrive in university and in the workforce. So what I have found and I've used different online schools over the years and stuff, is that if I am able to give him the core curriculum to be able to get our English done, our math done, those things done, and give him that, and he's doing it right now, to be able to get that done and then have the freedom to pursue his interests, that he's very involved in music and videos and gaming and all of these things. So I use this as my core, and then I supplement whatever it is that his interest is. But it is really important for him to make sure, and me to make sure, that he has those things down. I need to check off a list at the end of the day, even though he may sometimes not be real happy about it. But fortunately, the classes that he's taking with Advantages, he really loves, and I've been really excited about that, because one of them is creative writing, and he loves that. So, and I think that has a lot to do with the teachers that we employ. And I think somebody had asked about visiting the Success Center. We'll be opening the Success Center in September. And so that will be ready probably in August for visits. And that will be the Success Center in Calipa City A is really close to Alforsan. The other one is in Ream Island.
Okay. Any more questions?
So, somebody's asking about the attestation process, taking into account that they did not reside in the U.S.
We'll address that one.
Okay. Okay.
There's not any new questions unless someone has another. Okay, here's one. Just wanted to thank you so much for the discussion. My son is listening and he's so happy. That is good news, Jillian. Just give us a call and we'll be ready to work with him.
Yeah. Okay.
There's one question about Success Centers catering to younger children. In Abu Dhabi, there are two centers, and we're really not sure if both of them will cater to middle school and high school, or if one will extend out into younger children. I don't think that decision has been made yet, but we'll certainly keep you updated.
Right. The one in Ream Island has actually been working with younger children, but that's something that we will be working towards and discussing. We don't know yet. It takes a lot. Having run, co-ops for many years, younger children take a lot more hands-on. And right now, from just the research that we've done and hearing from parents, there's a need for high school and middle school Success Center support.
Okay. There's not any more questions in the chat. Everybody's just saying thank you, because we thank you guys so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And please reach out to us with any questions.
Well, if you signed up, if you registered, then we have your email, and we'll send out a copy of this video. And we're planning to have these sessions, and it won't be the same topic. There'll be a different topic every couple of weeks, and so please share with your friends and family. We decided that we want to grow this business organically just by talking to people who are passionate about education for their children and for the education of others' children, so we can just build a wholesome community. And if you like what we have to say, then please just share with your friends. If you learned about something that you probably want to pay attention to, and we really, really, really thank you. And we are hiring. If you're looking for, if you know anybody's looking for
Yes.
full-time positions for teaching, and there's other ways that you can be involved in our community. So please keep in touch with us, build a relationship with us. We really want to build a community and make you all a part of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.